Hello, I'm Johnny Cash, and you're listening to my buddy Jimmy Diele. Keep those tunes rocking, Jimmy.
All right. Well, hi. How's everybody doing? This is Doc G today, Hamilton Radio. I've got a special guest on our show, Jimmy Diele's Celebrity Spotlight, and we have William Lee Golden from the OAKRIDGE Boys. Welcome, Jimmy and William.
Welcome to the show, legendary recording artist William Lee Golden. How are you, William?
I'm doing great, man. I'm down here in Tennessee at home, out here in the country, so doing good. Been recording some with the OAKRIDGE Boys. We've during all the pandemic, and we actually are fortunate that we were able to do 29 Christmas shows in Nashville this year.
Nice.
So a lot of people have been off and haven't been able to work any. And this week, Thursday, we're down in Jackson, Mississippi at the big rodeo. So
awesome.
Big rodeo setting on Thursday night for the OAKRIDGE Boys.
Oh, that's great. You grew up in Brewton, Alabama, surrounded by music, right? You started music with your sister, and then later your grandfather's radio show?
It's what now?
You grew up in Brewton, Alabama, surrounded by music. You did your grandfather's radio show, and you did music with your sister?
Yeah, yes, I did. I grew up in as far south in Alabama as you can get. Our farm was right on the Alabama-Florida state line.
Mm-hmm.
And, anyhow, I grew up on a big cotton and peanut farm, and music was part of our life. And at home, my granddaddy was a fiddle player, and he also had a radio show. And when we were young kids, we would get to go and sing a song on Granddaddy's radio show once a week. And from there, we'd sing in little churches around the country, around our part of the country. But that's how I started. And then in high school, it was the first time I ever sang on a quartet. And I sang in the Ffa Quartet, the Future Farmers of America Quartet.
Mm-hmm.
And we would sing and compete with other high schools that had FFA programs and county schools. And we competed with other people that in the FFA group that had quartets and bands that had competition. And so our quartet won the district competition of quartet. So that was in when I was in 11th grade was my start off at singing on a quartet, and from there I kept singing, and then sang with some other guys I got together, and then joined the OAKRIDGE Boys in 1965 and met each one of these guys. Dwayne came a year and a half after I came. Then Richard came in 1972, and Joe came in 1973, and so that lineup is the lineup that's here today. So I was away from them for a little while. I got voted out, and so then they all come to visit me individually and voted me back in. So, that was 25 years ago, I guess.
Wow.
The group started out as a gospel quartet, right?
Right, it sure did. When I joined the group, there were gospel quartets singing gospel music and the Southern style gospel music, and so that's what we sang. And then I felt like that we needed to expand our music, and a lot of people only want to hear a gospel song on Sunday, and I thought we're all living 7 days a week, so why don't we sing about songs of life the other 6 days? And
Wow.
so I thought it was time to expand, and it was us, and it was important to get the right manager, and so we got Jim Halsey, who's been our manager since 1975.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a premier country music manager. He's managed Roy Clark throughout his career, and
wow,
a lot of other great people. He's, like I said, he's a premier manager in country music.
Wow. You were very instrumental in letting the group go country, right? You were instrumental in making them go country?
Yeah, I kind of grew up more country than the other guys. I grew up playing instruments, acoustic instruments. My sister played mandolin. I played rhythm guitar. And we grew up singing country gospel songs. Hank Williams, I Saw the Light, and Kitty Wells, Matching Over the Hilltop. We played, we sang, like Roy Acuff's The Great Speckled Bird, which was, and you know what? During all this pandemic, I've gone into the studio. I was having visions of doing this, but it just kind of, I got my boys together, my older sons, and we've gone in recording. And I've cut 13 old gospel songs, starting from my childhood through the early years. And I've cut 19 old country songs, back from The Great Speckled Bird, Roy Acuff, and Hank Williams songs, and all the way up to us doing country rock songs. My boys singing songs, and we're singing and harmonizing together. And it's an amazing sound. It's just something that's been so exhilarating for me, really. And it's kind of, it's been a real positive thing in a negative setting out here with everything, that since we are all basically we're not needed, so to speak.
Right.
We're part of the, what do we call we're unneeded people, or the unessential.
Of course.
Not essential. So through all of our not being essential, I've been singing and recording with my kids and with some other good friends of ours. And man, I'm so excited with what we've been doing. It's just amazing.
Wow.
So anyhow, they're mixing all of that stuff as we're speaking. And my friend Jeff Panzer, who's a great television producer and director in LA, I met him in 1980, 81, when he was a producer and director for ABC 2020. He was the youngest producer in network television at that time. We became close friends, best friends, and he moved to LA not long after that, and started Showbiz Today for CNN, and then ran the VH1 in LA. So he was ahead of VH1, and then he went with Universal and ran the video department with Universal. But Jeff has been, he directed the video people that's videoed everything that we recorded, 32 songs. And we had cameras getting there and a video guy, and Jeff Panzer's directing it from his home studio in LA, because he's locked down too. And so we've captured everything we've been doing here for the past 6 months in the recording studio.
Wow. Now, in 1977, you guys worked with Paul Simon, right? Slip Sliding Away?
Yeah. And the Oaks just recently recorded a new album with Dave Cobb during all of this too.
Wow.
So we did the Paul Simon thing. That was just before we had our first country record, really. It was between when we was moving from gospel music into more secular music, into country music, and that's when we were just signing with Jim Halsey Agency, and for Halsey to manage us and basically book us at that time.
Wow. Doc, what do you got?
Your songs, I got to tell you, William, your songs have been amazing to me. I've got most of the albums. The Greatest Hits album is amazing too. I just, your harmonies, your vocals, everything that's in time, just amazing. But I want to ask you, where did the OAKRIDGE Boys name come from? Do you know that?
Yeah, I know. It was, they were more of a bluegrass band out of Knoxville at that time. It was called the Georgia Clodhoppers or something, but they would go over to Oak Ridge, Tennessee during the development of the atomic bomb, when Oak Ridge, Tennessee was not even on the map. It was the government bought 60,000 acres there and put a city together with scientists and engineers. It was out in the middle of nowhere. It was kind of a secret thing during the development of the splitting of the atom, and that was developing the atoms that made the first atomic bomb, and or all of them, I guess, was done there in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. But the scientists and engineers that Oak Ridge didn't know what was going on. They would be invited in every once a week on Sundays to come in and perform for them. And the gospel music became these people wanted to hear gospel songs or gospel songs and harmonies, and that's kind of where the Oak Ridge Boys started, was there in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Wow.
And they changed their name from the Clodhoppers to the Oak Ridge Quartet because of their popularity there, and they had a once a week gig there.
And one of my favorite songs was "Y'all Come Back Saloon."
Great.
That's a great tune. Do you have any favorite songs with the Oak Ridge Boys? I'm sure you have many, but is there one favorite? Complete one favorite?
"Y'all Come Back Saloon" was certainly a favorite too, but that was the first. Sharon Vaughn wrote that, and Ron Chancey produced that on our first country album, and that was a "Y'all Come Back Saloon" album. But yeah, that's still a great song. We do it.
Awesome song. Love that song. That's one of my favorites as well. What a great song. You guys also worked with Johnny Cash and George Jones. What was it like to work with Johnny Cash in Las Vegas?
We did. That was we worked with him up in Lake Tahoe. I believe it was the Sahara there on the lake, and then we worked with him at the Las Vegas Hilton in Las Vegas there when he would headline there, and we also worked with him on several other events, But that was when we were at that gray area of was working with Cash. We did the thing with Paul Simon, and we were working with Roy Clark, Mel Tillis, and fronting their shows. We worked with Jimmy Dean, doing some shows with him.
Nice.
Wow.
Several shows we did with Jimmy Dean.
What was it like headlining in the USSR?
What now?
What was it like headlining in the USSR? And you guys played Russia?
Oh, yeah, USSR. It was a real educational experience for me. It was the Iron Curtain at that time. It was strictly, you had to go through a high-tech security thing, but it was a state-sponsored. We were there on a cultural exchange program.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that Jim Halsey, our manager, had put together, and it was he put us and Roy Clark on it, and these people he had these people come see us at 2 or 3 different shows that we were doing here in the States. One was Vegas, I think. One was in Pittsburgh, and somewhere else, and so they could see it, because to go there, you had to clear everything that you're going to sing, and all the words on everything that you sing has to be cleared. So it's government control.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's no freedom of singing whatever you'd want to. I'm not sure what some of the popular music today would do under that type setting, but anyhow, it was an educational experience. And you see because we had traveled in Scandinavia for years before we would go, and in Europe some before we joined Halsey. But you see what singing does and music does with people that don't understand understand the language that you're talking.
Mm.
I mean, it's how music and what you're doing there, harmonies, transcends language barriers, you know.
Right.
And those are warm feelings that you learn and feel along the way when you're at a place that you don't quite know the people or anything about their customs or any of that. So it was a great educational experience for me, and you come back more patriotic after going to a place like that. It was like stepping back in time to go into Russia at that time, because we traveled in an old train from Moscow to Riga and Latvia, and we spent a week there. And then from there, it was another old train from Riga to Leningrad, which St. Petersburg, and it's back to being St. Petersburg now. But when it was Leningrad, and then was there for a week, and then the Red Express, from there to the best train from there back to Moscow.
Nice.
So it was an experience, man. It was something that you realize that you're not free. You know, we were bucking up and stuff. A lot of great memories and a lot of strange situations. But we traveled by train where it was old trains that they had coal burning heaters on there.
Wow.
And you would have to go through all these cars to get back to where there's a place that you could buy food, maybe. Only at a certain time, though. But you'd pass all of these rooms along the way with people in there and bunks, and smell all of this stuff that they're eating out of in their places there. So it was quite an educational experience of doing something that you'd never really done before, because I'd never really rode that many trains, and certainly not one that was that antiquated and that old.
Right.
But anyhow, yeah, playing in the Soviet Union, USSR, was quite an educational experience and a mind-opening experience.
Nice. What about Elvira? Tell me how that came about. Elvira, did you guys know it was going to be such a big hit when you recorded it?
No, we didn't know that it was going to be a big hit when we recorded it. We knew it was a lot of fun because we'd all remembered hearing it, 15 years earlier by Dallas Frazier and different people that cut it on the other albums. But it was Ron Chancey, our producer, and one of the song pluggers that worked at one of the publishing companies come in and told Ron that pitched him songs that we were cutting. He said, "Man, there's an old song that you ought to cut on these guys." He said, "I was out in a club in Dallas, and this house band out there played that song, and they sang it." He said, you ought to do it." And they said they had one guy that was doing the Papa Mau Mau is doing it, and said, "You get Richard to do that." He said it'd be a smash. We cut it. The first time we ever did it on concert was in Spokane, Washington.
Right.
And we just dropped it in the middle of the show, didn't say anything, just dropped the song in there. We'd rehearsed it that afternoon and dropped it in. That place went wild.
Wow.
I mean, there was nothing compared to anything we'd done at that time. And then we looked around and they just kept going and kept going. So we went and sang it again.
Awesome.
Because we knew that nothing else was going to get them that excited.
Right.
And we did it again, and it was the exact same thing the next time.
Sure, man.
We wound up singing it 3 times.
Wow.
The next night, it happened again in Seattle, and then in Portland, Oregon. We called the label and said, "Hey guys, there's something happening here. This song has got to have a chance."
Mm-hmm.
These people, when we play it, they haven't heard it before. They're demanding encores on it in the middle of a show.
Wow.
So that's how it started.
Wow. And it crossed over to the pop charts, which was amazing.
It did. It spilled right over. It went to the top of country and spilled into pop and went up almost to the top of pop charts. Anyhow, everyone
wow, amazing.
was singing at Pop of Mau Mau the summer of 1981. But that's when it crossed from country to pop.
Awesome. Doc, what do you have?
No, I just want to ask him, did you ever write any books or anything, William?
I tell you what, there's one coming out here in April.
Oh, great.
I've been talking to Scott England for 6 months now, and he's interviewed not only me, but other people around me and different people, whoever he wants to, going back to my hometown and talking to my sister and my brother and my kids, OAKRIDGE boys, a lot of people, but I've never had a book. So, I'm 81 and I
bless you,
didn't
man.
really think I had anything to talk about.
Awesome.
I said, who in the hell would want to buy a book on me? I said, I'm a nobody, a has-been that never was. So
no,
that's not
that's
true at
a
all.
good title, I think.
That's not true. You just, I mean, you led an amazing life. You already through everything, and your music is just part of your foundation of who you are, and everybody wants to know about that.
Well, it is really, and I think the title of the book is going to be Behind the Beard.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome.
So there may be a bunch of stuff back there that people might not have known.
Exactly.
That's great.
And you mentioned Johnny Cash earlier, that song, man. Again, during the pandemic, the Oaks, we've been cutting music. I've been cutting music with my boys and my kids and some of our close friends here and that we play music with. And I cut this Johnny Cash song and all of these 32 songs. I cut one Johnny Cash song.
Oh, nice.
All the Johnny Cash
Nice.
wrote over. I still miss someone. At my door, the leaves are falling. Cold wild wind will come. Sweethearts walk by together. And I still miss someone.
Wow. Awesome.
That is awesome.
So good. So good. You did a special album for Cracker Barrel. Tell us about the Cracker Barrel album.
Yeah, that's right.
We did that, what's that been, 10 years ago?
At least that. Sure.
Yeah, 12 years ago, maybe. We did a Cracker Barrel, a song that we did an album that it was only sold at Cracker Barrel, really, and then we sold it on the road too.
Right.
But we did that, and that's how we first got into having our music sold at Cracker Barrel back then. And
so many great songs.
Some of the very few people that still selling CDs.
Wow.
And the way business is today, a lot of stuff's download. So
Very
and
true.
old albums and old CDs, although albums have made a big comeback now, as far as I know, we're having albums released of the stuff we're doing. The OAKRIDGE boys are, the last couple of things we've done is we've also had albums of the projects. But Dave
Mhm.
Cobb, he's up for Producer of the Year this year with the Grammys and of all producers, and he has cut the last maybe 4 albums that we've done, and we're just thankful that for us, for him to take the time to still cut the OAKRIDGE Boys, because he's cutting some. He cut Barry Gibb just recently.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
That's just released, and he also is, was involved with The Star Is Born, some of that production.
Wow.
But so Dave Cobb is and he has a cool way of recording, and it's just us and him. Every song is him and his acoustic guitar in the middle of the studio there, and us sitting around singing and getting the harmonies right, and him getting us to do it over and over till it happens.
Wow. I love your solo stuff. You have so much nice solo albums out. So many great songs like Mona Lisa and Bye Bye, Sweet By and By. I love your solo stuff.
Well, it's I love singing, It's I don't know, it has a healing effect in life, and I think that that's what all of this has had on. It's helped have that for me during this situation we've all been placed in.
Yeah.
Right.
So and that's when, and again, if I go 2 or 3 days that I don't listen to the music, and you're dealing with everyday realities and what's out there and been pushed out there at you, it's easy to start kind of getting uneasy feelings, because that last spring, late, just before the summer, I had to get away from news, everything. It got too much hate, negative out there for me, and I just had to get out of the house, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had to get away from it like I did, and I just had to stay away. Anytime I got close, I had to get back away from it. And that's when all of this started coming, man. I mean, I'd sit out under a tree out here on the back patio, and I'd hear all these songs going on. You kind of step away from all that and let your mind kind of open up and allow you to hear yourself think. Take time to allow your mind to explore those different old songs that you've been a part of your life since as far as you can remember, that you can remember back,
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I've been involved with here through all of this pandemic, and it's given me something that's what I feel. I can't wait for other people to hear what we've created here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where my head is right now, is that, plus if we have a lot of dates booked with the OAKRIDGE Boys,
right.
If we can get to June, there's a scattered one here, a scattered one there, but everything picks up late May, June. It's wide open and filling up for the rest of the year, because this is a year that we're on our 40th-year anniversary of singing Elvira.
Unbelievable.
It was 40 years ago this year, 1981 to 2021. And there's been a lot of boom, papa, mow, mows over arena loudspeakers, rumbled by Richard Sturban in those 40 years. And we're going to be out there celebrating that later on here. And as soon as June gets here, we've got a full
awesome
schedule until November, when we come back into Nashville and sit down here for 30 shows of Christmas shows at the Opryland Gaylord
love that
facility out here for their annual big Christmas extravaganza that we're fortunate to be a part of for a couple of years here.
Wow. I have a quick question for you, William. You said you started in 1965 with the band. Do you see, I mean, you got to see a lot of music changes between now and then. What advice do you give the new people that are coming out as far as music, independent music artists and stuff like that? Do you have any special advice for them?
Well, it's music. There's a broad spectrum to music, and there's different styles that appeal to different people. And like I've always felt, there's a melody for every emotion. And it allows people that play and sing to release emotions. And it allows other people that hear it, whether it's us listening to someone else do it, that it's transmitted, you know. Music is emotional at times. And so I guess I'm rambling here, and what was your question now?
Just about the music artists today. How do they deal with the new technologies and different things like that?
Yeah, well, that again, it's the technology, you know, of today that like me here talking to you. You know, it's my youngest son is in his first year of college, and he's doing virtual college right now. Then I've got great grandkids that are in virtual grade school, and so everything is going to a technology that we didn't have when I was growing up. So it's what's the old saying, the low tech redneck or in a high tech world. But that's sometimes what I feel like. And if it wasn't for Simone being here with me, I'd be out of luck.
We appreciate her. Thank you for that too.
I'm using her iPad to see you and to hear you on my phone.
Oh, that's awesome. You were talking about Christmas time in Branson. Tell us about Thank God for Kids. Love that song. Absolutely love it. One of my favorites.
Thank God for Kids. That was 1982 on our first Christmas album.
Great song.
Eddie Raven wrote the song. He had written it like 7 years prior to that, and had recorded it and had it recorded on an album, I think, and wanted to release it, but the label thought that another song on there would fit him better. Well, 7 years later, we're cutting our first Christmas album. Eddie Raven comes and said, "Hey, here's a song that may not be a regular Christmas album," he said, "but I think it would fit the occasion."
Mm-hmm.
And it was Thank God for Kids. It did have a one line in there. It's in the first line. If it weren't for kids, have you ever thought there wouldn't be no Santa Claus? Or look what the stork just brought. Thank God for Kids.
Right.
So that's the Santa Claus part of the song. They released it as a single for the OAKRIDGE boys back in November, and it went through Christmas, still rolling on up the charts, and in January and about the 1st of February, it went to number one on the country chart. So
wow.
It was more than just a Christmas song. He was right.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs. I listen to it all the time. Tell us about your painting. Do you still paint? Do you still like to paint?
I haven't painted in, I guess it's been about 7 years now.
Wow. Okay.
6 or 7. But I enjoyed it when I did, you know. I mean, I did it on the road. It was something that I did on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But it took a lot of time. I carried it in the bay of the bus. And I'd get up in the morning and I'd take my bags into the hotel, come back and get another load and take easels and stuff in. It was kind of loading in and loading out every day and through different weathers. And I did that for a while and enjoyed it. But, and I kind of got into photography and stuff like that too, you know.
Oh, great. Nice.
You see, there's a Grand Canyon picture.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Nice.
Check that out. Wow. Very nice. Beautiful.
But this whole room has got big Grand Canyon. It's an old dining room here.
Beautiful work.
Yeah, our home here built in 1786.
Wow.
And you say you're in Tennessee, correct?
Right.
Oh, wow. Very nice.
Not too far out of Nashville, right? You're pretty close to Nashville?
Yeah, we're about 20 minutes from downtown Nashville.
Nice. Nice. Wow. What would you say is your greatest achievement out of all the things that you've done over the years?
What is my greatest achievement? You know, I honestly think as you get older and look at life, and you just have to realize that, you know, there's a lot of things come and a lot of things go. But when it gets down to it, our families and our loved ones, our kids, our grandkids, and having a great relationship with someone that you love, that you feel that you're, you know, in the business that we're in, it's sometimes hard on situations, but I'm just thankful for that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, careers, when you're unessential, it's you're pretty well living a hippie life, and still a vagabond, so to speak. But at 82, why not?
You enjoy life.
Time for a new challenge, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
And your life has been nothing but extraordinary. I mean, you met some amazing. Can you tell us some of the people that you met over a period of years? I know you said you met Johnny. Did you meet Johnny Cash? You said.
Yep. Yeah.
Who else did you meet?
We work with Johnny. We do him real well. You know, he's our neighbor up here. He lives a couple of miles up the road.
So who else did you meet over the period of years? Can you just give me like different idea? Because I know people are going to ask me that question. Who else did he meet? Who else did he meet?
Well, we talk about who we recorded with. You know, it was like we recorded with Ray Charles, which was a thrill for me, and we recorded with George Jones. We recorded a song with Paul Simon that you already mentioned.
Right, Slip Sliding.
Yeah, Slip Sliding Away. Yep.
Yep.
So Slip Sliding Away, but it's things like that and people like that, you know, that is more than you meet. You actually were able to enjoy singing together on a project. You know, it's just a song. And that's been, so I've always enjoyed those opportunities that we've had.
Wow.
And, but man, it's just, you know, we've met several of the presidents and been at events where several of them were all at.
Wow.
And first ladies, and, you know, it's a lot of great people.
Right.
And again, you know, for someone like me that grew up remembering times that we didn't have electricity, you know, I was maybe 6 years old before we got electricity. But we had wood fireplaces and coal oil lamps and lanterns. And I mean, we're in the country, man. It was so you learn to survive in the world, and I think it's all of that it makes you have an appreciation for maybe knowing and remembering where you come from and how far that you can go from there, but then thank God we can still go back home too. So,
right.
And we've been able to meet and be friends with some great athletes. Chuck Yeager, the astronaut, and not astronaut, but the pilot that broke the sound barrier.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a close friend of ours,
Really?
We'd see him every year, a couple of 3 times most years, all the way to the end. We saw him twice last year. He always come on his birthdays, and he did that from the time we played his first birthday party when he was 80 years old.
Wow.
And after that, he come to see us every year on his birthday till he was 97.
Wow.
And he come to see us on his 97th birthday. So, and he would come to different places. I flew in a plane with Chuck Yeager.
Oh, nice.
In his little Husky plane. So people I've met, Chuck Yeager, got pictures of him in there. He said it looked like a flying squirrel when he come in there with my beard and hair hanging out. Just a little husky. He come over the mountain to Baron Hilton's ranch in Nevada, and we were playing up at Reno.
Nice.
And they sent a helicopter up to pick me and our road manager up. It took us down to hang out for the day at Baron Hilton's ranch.
Oh,
Chuck
cool.
Yeager was there, and Armstrong, the astronaut, and there was 2 astronauts there.
Nice.
But anyhow, it's like people like that you would never expect to see.
Yeah, we have a question from a listener, Tom, who wants to know.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned people. The Bush family were close friends of OAKRIDGE boys, and we got to know them when we played the White House back in the early 80s.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
And but Barbara was the sweetest person that we knew, and anyhow, I painted a couple of pictures of her flower garden up at Kenny Bunkport when they would invite us to come up like 3 days every year to come hang.
So cool.
Yeah.
Get out, ride the boat with the president, because he can drive a boat, but presidents can't drive the cars. So, and I guess she could drive wherever she wants because she said she didn't want Secret Service. But those people were friends of ours. So and hey, we knew Bill Clinton. We knew Hillary. We met Bill when he was governor.
Wow.
Got to know him.
Mm-hmm.
So we know Bill probably better than some people.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
Wow.
And they were always nice to all the OAKRIDGE boys, because we've done a few events where there was 3 or 4 or 5 presidents there, where Carter would be there, Clinton's, Bush's. Anyhow, there'd be like 4 or 5 presidents at some of these events that they'd want us to go. And so it's people like that, it's
Nice.
Wow. I know the Bushes are very big country music fans.
What was your other question?
Oh, the Bushes, I know, are very big country music fans.
They are country music fans. In fact, the first time we met George Bush, he'd come lanking across the lawn up there and come up and with an armful of T-shirts for us. And George Bush said he was vice president. He had vice president T-shirts that we got. And he said, won't be able to be here tonight because we were doing sound checks and singing some songs. He said, I'd love to hear this Freckles and something else. They were album songs off of one of our two different songs off of two different albums. And he was wanting to hear album songs rather than the songs that were played on radio, than the singles, you know. So we knew that he'd been listening to more than the radio to hear our music. And so, yeah, it's their country music, but they not only like the Oak Ridge Boys, they like Crystal Gale and Loretta Lynn and George Strait and a lot of different country people.
Do you like any new mainstream country artists that you listen to?
I do. I like some of the new country artists, you know. I love all good music. I love rock and roll, and I always have since the beginning of rock and roll. So, you know, I was a kid when Johnny B. Good and all of that hit. So I was in junior high and high when rock and roll hit.
Wow. I have to ask you a traditional celebrity spotlight question that I ask almost every celebrity. Did you ever meet Elvis Presley?
I did. I met Elvis 6 or 7 times, and it was at events where we would meet. He would come to see the National Quartet conventions back then. But they, after a couple of 3 times him coming there, then they built a little room off the side of the stage and the big arena down there that he could, because it was kind of in the round, but to have a place back there that he could watch the show that people wouldn't bother him. And they built a whole room back there with a glass window for him to be in that private room and to watch inside of an arena. And then it was taken down after that week of quartet stuff. But they did that a couple of different years there. But then I met him in Vegas twice at his shows out there and backstage.
Wow. What was that like?
Well, I grew up loving Elvis Presley. You know, I mean, I went to a high school masquerade party with my guitar and a sport coat on and white, my white shoes and the whole bit.
Wow.
But,
so awesome.
You know, and I sang, and then I remember I sang, what was it? I would sing, "Don't Be Cruel," and "You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog," and stuff like that. But, good
That's
Lord.
great. That's great. Wow. Doc, you have any party shots?
You know, I don't know if it would be playing stuff like that, doing Elvis songs, but then, I remember in the class favorites, you know, they had under my name. I was one of the class favorites.
So cool.
I was the most popular boy. I certainly was not the most intellectual. But they said, "What's Elvis got that I ain't got?" That was what the staff put under my picture there. And the high school annual. At that time, they would say something about whoever it was.
Wow.
Everybody had something by their name, but they put that for mine.
That's great. That's great. I actually got to meet you guys when you did BB King's in New York City. I hung out with you guys after the show. Do you remember doing that show, BB King's in New York City?
Yeah, I sure do. But you know, we did several different things up there, and we always do. It seems like when we go up there.
Uh-huh.
But we haven't been up there for a while.
Yeah, we miss you. We need you to come back.
You're shut down there too, right?
It is. Everything is shut down right now, but hopefully everything will come back soon, I hope, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've had my first round of vaccine.
Oh.
And I get my next round next Sunday.
Have you had any side effects?
No, not at all.
Good.
In fact, I got a flu shot back in November, and that was a whole lot worse than the COVID shot.
Oh, really?
I felt terrible for 3 or 4 days with a flu shot. I thought I had it for a minute.
Oh, wow.
I thought it had worked immediately, that I'd got it.
Wow. Oh, wow. So what are some future plans for you? What do you see yourself doing in 5 years from now, William Lee Golden?
Well, hey, man, I still want to be singing with the OAKRIDGE boys, and I want to release this music that I've got out that we've been cutting right now. And I plan to have, I've got this book coming out in April, and they're doing a television special for that. The writer is, and they're putting a 1-hour interview together to promote the book on, I know, on RFD TV.
Oh, nice.
TV shown some, but and there's a couple of other. They're documentaries maybe that Panzer's put together with all of the stuff that we're doing, because we're going to be doing interviews with him, and he will be interviewing us from LA out there, but he'll have cameramen from Nashville here. But so we got that coming out here later in the spring.
Oh, great.
And, so that's what I'm doing, and then I'll be doing all these dates with the OAKRIDGE boys. We've got, like I say, the last end of this year is packing up. Next year, which we really haven't talked about it yet, but there's been talk of us, the Oaks, possibly doing a farewell tour after the Elvira tour. And maybe
wow.
There's interest for anyone that wants to. But we would also continue to do things like the country music cruise, and also the Grand Ole Opry shows, and a lot of other events that we don't have to get out and travel and take a lot of equipment, a lot of people.
I have another question.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. I have another question real quick from another fan. They want to know how it was like to work with Home Free when they redid Elvira with you guys.
That was fun. You know, I mean, it's a different take. Everybody's got a different take on the song. But they did, and it was, they are a cappella, so it was really, and one guy's doing the, you know, he's doing all the beats with his, got a, you know, with his mouth, he's got all these, which is talent in itself, you know, to be able to do those sounds. But it was fun, and then the little guy that sings the lead part on it, you know, I mean, he's way on up there. But and then every singer getting to sing with Richard some. To me, it kind of was a throwback to the old gospel days, way back in the early days when I joined the OAKRIDGE boys. That we used to play these big battle of songs, they call it, out in Texas, out in Dallas and Fort Worth and Houston. W.B. Nowlin was a big promoter. He promoted a lot of different shows other than gospel music, but he would put these battle of songs there, and he'd book about 3 or 4 different groups on the show, and give everybody 30 or 40 minutes, and they'd go and sing, and then take an intermission, come back and do a short round for everybody again. And anyhow, I remember some people, some of these groups, they'd want to talk song they're getting ready to sing. And they'd go on and on about the song. And I remember the promoter went back there one time and he told a certain group, said, when it takes longer to introduce the song than it does to sing the song, I think you should change songs and get a song you can get on into and get it singing.
Oh, that's great.
Maybe you
That's
could
great.
do 2 songs.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah, it was but yeah, it was a battle of song, man, and everybody it's who's got the highest tenor and who's got the lowest bass. So, and then I fell in between there, you know, me and Dwayne, but yeah, but it was fun, man. We'd have these all-night singings too. We'd go attend a bunch of those things in fact, we had some down south in Georgia and down in Florida. They had 2 big all-night singings. They'd sundown till sunup. People would be singing, and they'd have about 10 or 15 groups, gospel groups, and sing all night. And they do it in Waycross, Georgia. They had a big all-night singing too. It's like an all-night singing. But some of there was one that did the sundown till sunup singing. That was in Montooth, Florida.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure if they still have singers there, but it'd be in the football field.
Do you have a favorite place to perform, William?
Well, we'd rather them have a stage, but if they don't, we'll just perform anyway.
I got you.
No, I don't know, man. There's a lot of places, you know, you perform, and we still do. But there are places that are certainly built more for singing and entertainment and having great shows in there than others. But again, you can't always
It's so true.
Yeah,
talk about the conditions that you'll be doing.
of course. Well, you're such a music legend, and we appreciate you being on the show. I want to thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the show tonight.
Well, this is new for me, so, you know, Joe Bonzel normally covers these virtual deals, but you went through my longtime friend and counsel,
Wayne, yep.
Get here, and Wayne is from New York. He's born and raised in Manhattan, so he wasn't a transplant, but he did transplant from there to Nashville, and I've known Wayne since 1981.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Wayne's a great guy, and I want to thank him too for getting you on the show for us, and I want to thank you for coming on the show for us. It's been an honor for me to talk to you, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, man, y'all have asked some good questions, and I'll try to get Wayne to share what we're doing with you.
Absolutely, please do.
As soon as it's available.
Especially when your book comes out, you know.
Yes, come back.
Come back and talk about your book.
Okay.
Promote it.
Well, it may be talking about stuff that I may not want to talk about on here.
I understand. That's fine.
No, I'm joking about it. It don't matter, man. I don't care. I talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about.
You're a delight and a pleasure, William. Thank you.
A legend in your time.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, William. We'll speak to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Wow. Another great show.
30 million records sold. An honor to have him, a legend in his time. That's William Lee Golden, the OAKRIDGE Boys. Unbelievable. I'm speechless, really. I mean, it's unbelievable to have him on the show. I mean, he's such a legend in his time, really, Doc.
Absolutely. And you know, like I told you last time, you're getting the great guests. I mean,
I try.
Some people, and I know you're reaching out to them. And here's the thing. Listen, people, when you email me, I want this guest, I want that guest. It's not as easy as you think. Even though we're friends with them, a lot of them don't get back to us.
Of course.
Or the agents get involved, or we don't know who's running their Facebook.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. So
sometimes you have to go through a lot of people, you know.
But here's the thing, though. Jimmy, if there's somebody that you want, a lot of these friends like Jimmy Ashenberger and a lot of the people that you see in the rooms know the people, so they may be able to get them. Like we were talking to Paul Ward.
Oh, Paul Ward, what a great guy! What a great guy!
He's working with Paul McCartney right now.
Wow,
so
how cool is that?
You never know.
So yeah, I was just talking earlier today with Olivia Newton-John, and possibly she may come on the show maybe in the next month or so. How cool would that be? She's got a brand new book out, and hopefully that'll be happening for us. A friend of mine asked me to mention this. If you're in the Las Vegas area tonight at the Piazza Lounge at the Tuscany, that's my second home, the Tuscany, Las Vegas. My buddy Laney Counts is appearing from 7:30 to 11 p.m. tonight. Check him out. He's a great guy, a great talent. Laney's Counts, and he's going to be at the Tuscany tonight in Las Vegas. Laney Counts. Check him out. And also coming up on the show next week, we got Misty Rowe. She's from the show Yeager, and she's done so much stuff. She was on Happy Days. She has a brand new book out, so we're looking forward to talking to her. We got Randy Montooth. He is from Emergency. He was the star. He was Johnny Gage, the paramedic, and of course the firefighter, the star of Emergency. So he'll be here, and so many great people on the way. Hal Linden, Barney Miller is going to be here. Anson Williams from Happy Days, Potsy himself is going to be hanging out with us. We have just so many more people on the way. There's so many for me to mention right now, but I just give you an idea. And so many people listening to the show tonight. I just want to say hello to, Tom? Thank you so much again. He checks in every week with questions. He's amazing.
Thank you.
I did get to ask that question for you. Thanks, Tom. And Flora Canarsie, Tricia in Florida, Cindy, Lake Ronkonkoma, Marty in Brooklyn. We got Sharon, my mom, and Joanne in Canarsie. So many people checking in, and I really appreciate you guys listening every week to the show, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot to everybody here at Hamilton Radio.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got our good friend John Wagner.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Jimmy Ashenberg, Benner, Dara Rose.
Yep.
We also have Flora, your friend.
Yep.
Arthur P. Salvano.
Right.
Sharon Priscilla Vieira, and also Maureen Angelica Lynch. And she
was
from the beginning. So I want to thank everybody for listening. You guys have been awesome together. I mean, everybody together working with us. Please, all we ask for is support. Support us. When we put this on the Roku channel, tell people to go to the Roku channel and watch it. When we put it on YouTube, tell them to watch it. It's going to be available for everybody. So that's all we're asking. Follow us, support us, and share it. That's all you got to do.
Dara, thank you so much.
Yeah, and join in the participation, because we really love, Jimmy and I really love interviewing people, and this is another start for us to grow, and we all want to grow together. So let's do that, guys. Thank you.
Right. Okay, thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you on Monday back with Misty Rowe.
Absolutely. All right.